My dear brothers and sisters, today I want to speak to the hearts of those who feel unseen, misunderstood, or burdened by a weight they cannot explain. There is a unique path for some souls, a path that is rarely easy, often lonely, and sometimes painfully isolating. You may feel broken, as though the world has turned its back on you, or as if the very people closest to you cannot understand the depth of your journey. But know this, being chosen does not mean being spared from struggle. It means being prepared in ways that the ordinary heart cannot comprehend. From the moment the chosen ones are set apart, there is a weight upon their soul that others cannot see. They are born into a life where their purpose stretches beyond the ordinary, and with this calling comes isolation. Imagine a heart that beats with a rhythm different from the world around it. It longs to connect, to be understood, but the very essence that makes them exceptional also separates them from the crowd. Their dreams are vast, and their vision pierces through the illusions that comfort most people, so when they walk among others, they often feel alien, even in familiar spaces. The chosen ones are constantly confronted with the tension between belonging and fulfilling their destiny. Their minds and spirits operate on a higher frequency, sensing truths that others cannot grasp, hearing whispers of possibility that the majority dismisses as fantasy. Every insight, every revelation, every moment of clarity sets them further apart from ordinary lives. And as they step into their purpose, the world misunderstands them, labeling their differences as arrogance, their foresight as presumption, and their solitude as weakness. They endure a loneliness that is not always visible, a quiet ache that seeps into their bones, born from the paradox of being deeply connected to the eternal, yet simultaneously disconnected from the temporal. Their hearts are reservoirs of compassion, yet they are often met with betrayal or apathy when they try to share their gifts. Relationships become complicated because their vision is broader, their understanding deeper, and their priorities unlike those of others. The chosen ones are forced to learn that some hearts are not ready for their truth, and some spirits cannot carry the weight of their light. This sense of isolation is compounded by the relentless pursuit of excellence and the calling to transcend mediocrity. They are pushed to grow in silence, to endure trials that seem unnecessary, to face opposition that feels unjust. Every challenge, every heartbreak, every moment of being misunderstood is a chisel shaping them into the instruments they were created to be. Yet, in this breaking, there is a hidden beauty, a refining process that purifies their vision, strengthens their resolve, and equips them for the extraordinary path they are destined to walk. The world sees their loneliness as suffering, but in truth, it is often preparation. It is the crucible in which their character is forged. They learn to find solace in the divine or in the inner sanctuary of their spirit, for the companionship of their calling becomes their closest ally. And through the pain, they grow resilience that others cannot imagine, discovering that the deepest connection is not always with people, but with purpose, with destiny, with the unseen hand guiding them through the shadows of misunderstanding. Their brokenness, though painful, is a sacred tearing away of the superficial, a stripping down to the core of what truly matters. In this state, they see the world differently, feel with more intensity, and love with greater depth. The chosen ones carry the loneliness of visionaries, of dreamers, of those who are destined to change the world. It is a solitude filled with whispers of greatness, a quiet that echoes with potential, and a space where the soul grows in ways the company of others cannot always facilitate. And so their journey is often walked alone, not because they are unloved or unwanted, but because their destiny requires a closeness to truth and purpose that the ordinary cannot sustain. In every trial, every night spent wrestling with doubt or despair, the chosen ones are being prepared. The loneliness is not a curse but a companion. The breaking is not destruction but a necessary transformation. They are learning to anchor themselves in the eternal, to stand firm when the world misunderstands, to hold their vision even when surrounded by opposition. They are being molded into vessels that can carry the weight of what others cannot bear, and through this process, they are strengthened, sharpened, and sanctified. Their journey teaches patience, endurance, and the sacred art of waiting. Every heartbreak, every betrayal, every moment of isolation is a brushstroke in the masterpiece of their destiny. And though they may walk through shadows, though the world may call them broken or lonely, they are being prepared for a light that will one day illuminate the path for countless others. Their silence is powerful, their solitude profound, and their brokenness sacred, for it is in these spaces that the soul grows, the spirit strengthens, and the chosen rise, not despite the loneliness or pain, but because of it. The chosen ones carry burdens that are unseen by the world. These burdens are not the ordinary trials that most people face. They are spiritual, emotional, and sometimes even physical weights that accompany a life set apart. From the earliest moments of their awareness, they feel a deep sense of responsibility, a call to something far greater than personal comfort or ordinary success. While others may live with the ease of conformity, the chosen ones are constantly confronted with the tension between what is and what must be. They carry visions of possibility, glimpses of truth, and awarenesses that others cannot comprehend. And with this clarity comes a profound solitude. Every decision they make is measured not only by the immediate consequences, but by the ripple effects that touch lives unseen. They feel the pulse of the world in a way that others cannot, sensing injustice, pain, and opportunity with a precision that can be both a gift and a heavy weight. And as they step into their calling, the burdens increase, because the path of the chosen is not cushioned by ignorance or mediocrity. They face resistance, doubt, and sometimes hostility, not because they seek it, but because the world does not always recognize the necessity of what they are called to accomplish. In carrying these unseen burdens, they learn the art of endurance, the patient, quiet, and unwavering strength that does not rely on applause or acknowledgement. They learn to persevere even when misunderstood, to rise even when ignored, and to keep moving forward even when the world seems indifferent to their efforts. The chosen ones experience moments when the weight of responsibility presses so heavily upon them that the air feels thick and every step becomes laborious. Yet in these moments of pressure, the very essence of their calling is being refined. They are learning to carry not only their own weight, but the weight of the lives and destinies they touch. They are being trained in resilience, patience, and unwavering focus, developing an inner fortitude that is invisible to the casual observer. The unseen burdens teach them empathy, for they feel deeply the suffering and struggles of others without being able to immediately resolve them. They are taught to trust the unseen, to rely on faith when solutions are not apparent, and to remain steadfast when hope seems distant. These burdens also cultivate humility, for the chosen ones understand that their strength is not self-generated, but granted through alignment with their purpose. They are reminded that even the greatest visionaries require patience, discipline, and trust in the process, and that the trials they endure are not punishments, but preparations. Through this silent, often lonely journey, they develop wisdom beyond their years, an understanding of life's complexities, and a clarity that cannot be rushed or borrowed. The burdens shape their character, mold their hearts, and sharpen their spirit, preparing them for a destiny that will demand courage, perseverance, and unwavering faith. Though the weight may seem unbearable at times, it is also a sign of the responsibility they have been entrusted with, a reminder that they are chosen not for comfort but for impact. The invisible burdens carried in silence are the sacred tools by which the chosen ones are sculpted, and through this process they emerge stronger, wiser, and equipped to fulfill the extraordinary purpose that has been set before them. The chosen ones are often misunderstood, judged, or even rejected by those closest to them. This misunderstanding is not born of malice, but of perception. Others simply cannot see the full measure of what the chosen ones carry within their hearts and minds. Their vision, their insight, and their sense of purpose set them apart. And in a world accustomed to mediocrity or comfort, difference can be threatening. Families, friends, and peers may question their choices, their priorities, or the paths they take, not realizing that these decisions are guided by a calling far beyond ordinary comprehension. This isolation is compounded by the fact that those who should be closest, those who share blood, history, or intimacy, often react with fear, doubt, or criticism instead of understanding. Every act of courage, every step of faith, and every pursuit of destiny can be met with resistance disguised as concern, and the chosen ones are forced to navigate this delicate terrain with wisdom and patience. The pain of rejection or judgment is often deeper than any external opposition because it cuts across the tender space of love and familiarity. The chosen ones begin to realize that their relationships will never be measured by proximity or obligation alone, but by resonance with their vision, alignment with their purpose, and recognition of their calling. They learn to discern which voices are worth listening to and which are distractions that seek to pull them away from their destiny. And yet, even in the midst of this isolation, there is a profound teaching. Understanding does not always come immediately, and love does not always equate to agreement. They are learning to anchor themselves in the source of their purpose rather than in the approval of others. Each judgment, each misunderstanding, each moment of feeling unseen becomes a lesson in perseverance, humility, and trust. The chosen ones are taught to measure their worth not by the applause of the crowd, nor by the validation of those around them, but by the fidelity with which they pursue the calling etched into their souls. They are learning to navigate the paradox of closeness and distance, love and detachment, presence and solitude. While they may feel broken by misunderstanding, these very moments are shaping their character, tempering their spirit, and refining their ability to lead with empathy and insight. They come to realize that being misunderstood is often a hallmark of greatness. For visionaries, pioneers, and those chosen for extraordinary paths rarely fit comfortably into the expectations of ordinary society. Through this, the chosen ones develop resilience and inner clarity, learning that rejection is not failure, judgment is not truth, and misunderstanding is not the absence of love, but often the sign that their purpose stretches beyond what others are prepared to see. In these experiences, they cultivate patience, discernment, and a deep reliance on their inner compass, understanding that the journey is as much about preparation as it is about achievement. And as they walk through the seasons of isolation, they discover that the silence of misunderstanding can be a sanctuary, a space where their vision is clarified, their faith strengthened, and their destiny quietly unfolding. The chosen ones, therefore, embrace the loneliness that comes with being misunderstood, recognizing it as both a shield and a teacher, a companion in their journey toward a life of profound impact and divine alignment. The chosen ones possess a sensitivity and heightened awareness of the world's pain that sets them apart, and it is this very gift that can make them prone to emotional overwhelm. They feel more deeply, perceive more acutely, and carry burdens that others cannot even begin to imagine. While many go through life skimming the surface of experience, the chosen ones dive into the depths of human emotion, witnessing sorrow, injustice, and brokenness with a clarity that can be both beautiful and heavy. They absorb the energy around them, the unspoken grief of strangers, the hidden despair of loved ones, the subtle shifts in the atmosphere of the world, and it resonates within their souls in ways that ordinary hearts cannot comprehend. This heightened awareness can lead to moments of intense loneliness because few can truly empathize with the weight they bear. People may not understand why the chosen ones retreat into silence, why they grieve what seems insignificant to others, or why they carry burdens without complaint. They experience the world on a wavelength that is difficult to share, and this separation can make relationships challenging, for ordinary interactions rarely satisfy the depth of their inner experience. Yet it is precisely this sensitivity that equips the chosen ones for the extraordinary roles they are destined to fulfill. Their capacity to feel deeply allows them to heal, to comfort, and to inspire others in ways that those who are numb to pain cannot. Every tear they shed, every moment of compassion, every act of listening without judgment becomes part of the sacred work they are called to do. And though the emotional weight can be overwhelming, the chosen ones learn to channel it into strength. using their sensitivity as a lens through which they see truth more clearly than others. They develop an acute awareness of the subtle energies of life, the patterns that go unnoticed, the needs that are unmet, the quiet voices that cry out for understanding. This awareness compels them to act, to intervene, and to bring light where darkness seems to prevail. But it also teaches them restraint, for they cannot save everyone at once, and they must learn to discern where their energy is most needed. The chosen ones gradually understand that their sensitivity is not a weakness but a sacred gift, a tool designed to shape their character, deepen their empathy, and guide them toward purposeful action. They cultivate emotional intelligence and spiritual resilience, learning to balance compassion with discernment, empathy with strength, and vulnerability with wisdom. In this balancing act, they discover that true power lies not in suppressing their feelings, but in embracing them, refining them, and allowing them to serve the greater purpose of their calling. Their emotional intensity becomes a channel through which they connect with the divine, with humanity, and with the unseen forces guiding their journey. And though this path is often lonely, fraught with moments of heartbreak and exhaustion, it is also profoundly transformative, cultivating a heart that is both tender and steadfast, a soul that is both aware and anchored, and a spirit that can illuminate even the darkest corners of the world. The chosen ones learn that their heightened sensitivity is part of the reason they are chosen, for it is precisely their capacity to feel, to understand, and to respond with depth that equips them to carry out a destiny far beyond ordinary measure. Loneliness and brokenness are the secret crucibles of transformation for the chosen ones, shaping them into vessels capable of fulfilling extraordinary destiny. The world often sees these states as signs of weakness or misfortune, but in reality, they are the sacred spaces where character is refined, vision is clarified, and purpose is deepened. When the chosen ones experience isolation, whether imposed by circumstance or by the inherent distance created by their calling, they are invited into a profound inner journey, a journey that demands reflection, courage, and surrender. In these moments of solitude, every thought, every emotion, and every pain is magnified, offering a mirror to the depths of the soul. They are confronted with their fears, their doubts, and the hidden corners of their own hearts. And through this confrontation, they begin to understand the true nature of their strength. Brokenness strips away the superficial layers of pride, distraction, and false security, leaving the essence of who they are at the core. It is in this state that the chosen ones discover their resilience, their capacity to endure, and their ability to rise again despite setbacks. Loneliness becomes a teacher, revealing truths that noise and companionship cannot convey. It teaches patience, for they learn that fulfillment and recognition often come in divine timing, not human convenience. It cultivates self-reliance, for while guidance and support are valuable, the chosen ones come to understand that their ultimate source of strength resides within their connection to purpose and the unseen forces guiding them. And brokenness, though painful, becomes a sacred forge where empathy, wisdom, and compassion are tempered. They learn to walk gently with others, to understand suffering in ways that can bring healing, and to extend grace to those who do not yet comprehend the depth of life's challenges. In this sacred crucible, the chosen ones are shaped into leaders, visionaries, and carriers of light. They realize that their trials are not arbitrary, but necessary preparations for the impact they are destined to make. Every moment of heartache, every season of misunderstanding, every night of sleepless reflection is a deliberate shaping of their soul, equipping them to navigate the complexities of life with discernment and courage. Loneliness allows them to hear the whispers of their destiny more clearly, to discern the subtle guidance that others might overlook, and to develop an intimacy with truth that is unshakable. Brokenness humbles them, reminding them that true strength is not the absence of difficulty, but the mastery of it. It instills in them a grace that can reach others, a courage that can endure opposition, and a vision that can inspire transformation. And through it all, the chosen ones learn to embrace both the pain and the solitude, understanding that these experiences are the foundation upon which their extraordinary journey is built. They are reminded that being broken does not signify failure, nor does being lonely indicate a lack of value. Rather, these states are evidence of the sacred work being done within their souls, the invisible labor that prepares them for a life of impact, influence, and profound purpose. The world may not always see their struggle, and few may understand their path, but the chosen ones know that their isolation and brokenness are not the end. They are the beginning of a life that will touch hearts, change destinies, and fulfill the calling written into their very being. In embracing their solitude and enduring the pain of brokenness, they become whole in ways the ordinary cannot imagine, and they step forward into their destiny, not despite the loneliness, but because of it.